During this week in Pokemon Go, we are going to be seeing the debut of a brand new Pokemon, and we're also going to be getting some nice surprises. I'm going to be covering everything that you need to know regarding this week in Pokemon Go in this video. Let's get right into it. Hey, how's it going everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So this week is going to be a pretty interesting week in Pokemon Go. I do think that for the last couple of weeks in terms of content, Niantic has been delivering. We have been seeing some really solid events and we're seeing some really great content, but this week it's going to follow suit. I do think there's a lot of things to look forward to during this week, especially because we are going to be seeing the debut of Applin as well as Hydrapple through the Harvest Festival event. And this event is looking to be pretty decent in terms of content. So let's start this off by talking about that particular event, and then afterwards let me talk about some other things you could look forward to. This year's Harvest Festival event is going to be from October 10th at 10 o'clock a.m. local time until October 16th at 8 o'clock p.m. local time. The featured Pokemon for this event are going to be two new evolutions for the Pokemon Applin, and it's going to be Applin as well as Hydrapple. And from everything that I've heard, Hydrapple is the best evolution out of all of the various evolutions for this Pokemon. So that is something you should definitely keep in mind. But the only caveat is that the evolution requirements for this Pokemon are going to be ridiculous. And we'll talk more about that later. Actually, let's talk about it now. So if you want to get yourself either of the new Pokemon, here are the evolution requirements. You need 200 Applin candy as well as 20 syrupy apples in order to get Applin, and then you need 400 Applin candy, and you have to catch 7 dragon types with Applin as your buddy in order to get Hydrapple. That is a total of 600 Applin candies that you will need in order to get both of these new Pokemon. That is pretty crazy in my opinion. Of course, 400 Applin candy alone for Hydrapple is a ridiculous amount of candy for just one Pokemon, so you will definitely want to make sure you pick your best Applin in order to get yourself a Hydrapple. In order to get Hydrapple, it's going to be a total of 600 Applin candy because of course, you have to evolve to Applin first, and then you have to evolve Applin into Hydrapple for 400 candy. So yeah, this is all pretty crazy. However, I do think Hydrapple is going to be worth it. Everything that I've heard is that this is going to be a very powerful Pokemon. And then of course, there's going to be a new kind of apple that you will be seeing in the wild, and it's going to be the syrupy apples, which you need in order to get Applin. And then, along with this new Pokemon, we're also going to be seeing the following event bonuses during this event. You're going to get double the amount of candy for catching Pokemon with Pinap Berries and Silver Pinap Berries. That's actually a very key bonus, especially if you're trying to get yourself Hydrapple. And then you're going to have an increased chance to get Shiny Pumpkaboo and Shiny Smoliv. And then you're also going to have an increased chance for getting apples to appear at Pokestops when you activate a Mossy Lure module at that Pokestop. I think this is another really key bonus because syrupy apples are definitely going to be a requirement, but also when you see apple spawns, that's primarily how you can get yourself a ton of Applin. And of course, you're going to need yourself a ton of Applin candy. Next up, let's talk about the wild encounters during this event. You got Miltank, Combee, and Smoliv in the wild, and you may even encounter Applin as well. Of course, I really do think this is not going to be something you will see in the wild. It's going to appear through those apples, and that's probably how it's going to continue on with this event. Now, there's also going to be a paid timed research during this event, which is going to cost $4.99 USD, and this timed research is going to be geared towards getting yourself Applin candy. Let me explain. So when you buy this timed research, the bonuses are going to be the following. You're going to get double the duration for Mossy Lure modules, which is pretty important for getting those Applin spawns, and then you're going to have an increased chance to receive berries from Pokestops, which include Silver Pinap Berries and Golden Raspberries, and you're also going to get 30 Silver Pinap Berries and 3 Mossy Lure modules, as well as encounters with Applin itself. On top of you getting yourself a whole bunch of different ways to get extra Applin candy, those Applin encounters are going to be with field research IVs. So your chances of getting yourself a high IV Applin in order to evolve into Hydrapple is going to be somewhat high with this paid timed research. Therefore, I do feel it is kind of worth it if you're looking to get yourself that new Pokemon. And then finally, there's going to be a collection challenge, which is also going to help you out in getting yourself a Hydrapple. It's going to award you with 1 Mossy Lure module, Syrupy Apples, as well as Applin encounters, as well as Stardust. So this is actually going to be one you will want to make sure you complete. Alright, now let's talk about the weekly content. So, in Dynamax battles, we're actually going to be getting a Max Monday featuring Dynamax Drillbur, and this is the Pokemon that will be in Max battles throughout the week. This is actually a pretty good one because Dynamax Exadrill is a pretty popular choice for a lot of different Gigantamax battles, so this will definitely be one you will want to target during this week. Now, for Spotlight Hour this week, we're going to be having one featuring Pharaoh Seed, and it's going to have a 2x evolution experience bonus. This is a pretty big one because we are about to see the increase to the level cap, and you will want to utilize this bonus to the best of your ability to get as much experience as possible before next week. This is going to be happening tomorrow between 6 o'clock p.m. and 7 o'clock p.m. local time. Again, you will want to make sure you have a whole bunch of evolutions ready, and also make sure you use your lucky eggs. Now, in terms of rating content, we're actually going to be getting normal form Deoxys as well as defense form Deoxys in 5-star raids starting tomorrow, October 7th, and then in Mega Evolution raids, we're going to have Mega Sceptile, Mega Blaziken, and Mega Swampert. All of these raid bosses are somewhat decent. I will say in terms of the Deoxys forms, they're not necessarily that good, but at least with the Mega Evolution raids, they're actually really good, so you do not want to miss out on those. Now, of course, this means for this Wednesday's raid hour, we're going to be having one featuring both normal form Deoxys as well as defense form Deoxys. Raid hour is going to be happening Wednesday, October 8th from 6 o'clock p.m. to 7 o'clock p.m. local time. Alright, and finally, let's close this off by talking about what's going to be active within the Go Battle League. So, until this Tuesday, October 7th, we're going to continue to have the Open Great League along with the Fantasy Cup Great League Edition, and then afterwards, until the rest of the week, we're going to have the Open Ultra League along with the Jungle Cup Great League Edition. If you do not have yourself a good Ultra League team, like myself, then it might be wise to figure out a good team for the Jungle Cup, because I do think that cup is filled with a lot of really solid Pokemon that you probably have in your collection right now. So yeah, there you have it. This is everything that's going on during this week in Pokemon Go, and something you may have noticed is that there really isn't much on the weekends. That's very interesting because for the last couple of months, we've had at least something like a community day or maybe a raid day, but this weekend we're not having anything. So it's really going to be all about getting those Hydrapples, and that's going to require you to do a lot of grinding. So maybe this weekend, maybe you can spend some time with some friends, lure up a couple of Pokestops with some Mossy Lures, and go and collect those apples, because you do need quite a lot in order to evolve your Applins into Diplins, and then from Diplin to Hydrapple. So yeah, it's going to be quite grindy, it's going to require a lot of work, but I think it's going to be worth it because Hydrapple is definitely a really cool Pokemon, and it's going to be one of those Pokemon that could potentially be really good for PvP and raids. So yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Definitely share your thoughts regarding everything that's going on this week down below. Is there something in particular that you are looking forward to? Maybe you're excited to raid Deoxys again for the very first time or after a long time, I don't know, but definitely share your thoughts. I would definitely like to know, and yeah, let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you ended up enjoying it and found it to be informative, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget the notification bell so you know exactly when I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Content channel, the best way you could do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you decide to become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. So that means for stuff like remote raids, the friendship system, opening and sending gifts, different things like that. If you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. I'll put a link to it in the description below. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you're always welcome to do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms you see right now on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and that'll be a huge help to my channel, and you'll have access to some exclusive content, and you'll be able to keep up with my daily life as well. And that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later.